The four-wheel drive craze is sweeping the nation. Jeeps are ascending by the thousands at events like the Panama City Beach Jeep Jam. They've got everything from obstacles to sand dunes, and Jeepers are eager to take them on and see what their Jeeps can do. Then we're headed to the Busted Knuckle Park for the Scorpion Offroad Concepts Customer Appreciation Day ride. Events like this teach off-roaders how to tackle the trails safely. They also offer the chance for drivers to test their machines with experienced riders who can suggest tips and provide help if the drivers get into a tight spot. You ATV lovers are going to relish this ride with Anthony Humphrey of Tony's Toys as he takes us on some trails at Windrock Park. Everyone knows this ride could get extreme in a hurry. Then we'll join some serious machines as they take on Cadillac Mountain. It's all coming up this week on Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 Invasion. Joining a Jeep Club is a big part of the Jeep community. It's a superb way to experience the outdoors and the Jeep life. The Smoky Mountain Jeep Club is a club that makes people feel like a family. These like-minded people are along for the ride to enjoy some family-friendly fun. Today's adventure takes us to Nemo's Tunnel in Wartburg, Tennessee.
We came to Tennessee for the Smoky Mountain Jeep Club Nemo Tunnel ride today. We've been on several rides with them, and the Nemo Tunnel is one we didn't. We got into Jeep life about 6 years ago, and being with Jeep people and riding is, we like to do it, and Tennessee is our favorite state except for where we live in Ohio. And it's just a fun atmosphere, getting together with all the Jeeps and doing different rides, and it's about 5.5 hours for us to come here. But when you're in the mountains, you know, and Jeeping, you can't beat it.
The ride was accompanied by rain, causing the tunnel to flood, but every Jeeper lit their lights up and hit the tunnel without hesitation.
I'm originally from the DC area, as a former engineer in that area, and all my friends have Jeeps. And so I ended up buying a Jeep, and then I quit my engineering life and moved to North Carolina, and I've kind of assumed the Jeep lifestyle. I spent 5 weeks last summer out west, going to Montana, Wyoming, Oklahoma, Utah, Colorado, and this year I'm going to do another 8 weeks actually out west. But I really love the Jeep community.
A good way to test your machine is to go riding with experienced, knowledgeable people. This ride is at Busted Knuckle Park, hosted by Scorpion Offroad Concepts. Over 100 riders showed up in all types of Jeeps, ranging from stock Cherokees to the rock crawlers that were made to tear it up on trails such as these. New Jeepers get advice on how to maneuver trails without damaging their rides. And if they do need help, they gain valuable experience on how to use their winch without causing any damage to their machine. Other Jeepers on the ride got to experience some of the more extreme trails here at Busted Knuckle. These trails can seem very intense if your machine isn't built correctly to handle the tough terrain. The Jeeps built by the crew from Scorpion Offroad Concepts maneuvered these trails just as expected, with no problem.
All right, so that wraps up another great day of wheeling. We were out here with good people, good friends. Everybody had a blast. Our customer with the 3.5-inch rough country suspension kit, he was tickled to death. Said he had a great on-road ride in his trip here, and in a day of wheeling, he was very, very pleased with his product. Another thing, Frankie, with his 4-wheel drive now, he's going a lot more places than he ever went before in 2-wheel drive, and a heck of a lot easier. good times, good people. We all had a blast, and that's what it's about.
We'll be right back with more 4x4 adventures on Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 invasion. Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 invasion is brought to you by Spearhead Trails. Virginia is for lovers. Crazy Industries, crazy for off-road. HE&M Saw, the saw that cuts straight. In the shop with Scorpion Offroad Concepts.
So we had one of our really good customers came in, and he wanted to give his Jeep just that added get up and go. We've already re-geared the Jeep, so that gets us where we need to be with that, but there's nothing out there like a power adder, you know, that says, here I want to go and we're going to go, like a supercharger. So we opted to go with the Sprintech supercharger. It delivers fuel and throttle and torque right out of the gate. As soon as you put the pedal down, you have instantaneous torque right there, and that is just perfect for our customer because he is the consummate weekend warrior with that Jeep on the trail rides.
One point that we really want to emphasize is to align the supercharger pulley by using the shims provided in the kit.
When you start tightening up, you want to line the C-clamp on the outside edge of the snout, and you want it to be with the outside of the 45-degree bevel that's cut on the snout. This will give proper alignment for the pulley. Proper alignment with the snout of the supercharger is ideal to life of the pulley and the idler pulleys. As you can see now, we've got our belt installed. We went ahead and installed our alternator. And this kit, you know, it's nice. It comes with this. This comes with this new air tube. It's a direct flow right into the throttle body. Retains the factory breather box. With this kit, you can also use the factory air filter. So right now we're topping off all the coolants, filling it with antifreeze, and we're going to fill the supercharger, the air to water. It uses a 50-50 mixture of water and antifreeze. So right now we're going to get the coolants topped off. We're going to download our software into the ECM, and we'll be ready to start this thing up.
Your vehicle should not be driven without the custom tune from Sprintex installed using the Diablo Super Sport tuner. After the install, make sure you inspect your hoses, fluids, belts, and pulleys. Once it's completed, have fun.
So today we're back at Speed Engineering. We've got our JK back up here again. We laid down a baseline in the beginning with the factory horsepower numbers, and today we're really excited. We've got the Sprintech supercharger on there, and we're going to make a few pulls here and see what our numbers are. I mean, we're really looking forward to showing everybody the curve of the horsepower, the instant torque and everything. And we're going to see if that's the way it actually lays out on this thing. Okay, so what we've done, we went ahead and made another pull, but what we did here was we went ahead and went to full throttle earlier in the RPM range, and as you can see, those numbers are still there. They're right off throttle. They start climbing with the horsepower and the torque, and you know, we got max power here at 298, max torque 294. I mean, who wouldn't be happy with that compared to what we have? And the other thing I like to point out is we don't have aftermarket exhaust yet or a cold air intake, so that's only going to help these numbers, and I'm sure our customer is just going to be ecstatic with these kind of numbers compared to what he had before. This was our last pull of the day, and we broke the 300 horsepower mark. As you can see right here, 307.5 horsepower. Our torque, our max number that we got today on the torque was 294.5. And anyone that drives one of these JKs day to day, on a day-to-day basis, you have to appreciate what you either have or you don't have. And I guarantee you, if you don't have a supercharger, then you don't have this right here.
We'll be right back with more 4x4 adventures on Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 invasion. Welcome back to Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 invasion. Let's hit the trails with SpearheadTrails.com. Virginia is for lovers. The ride today is at Wind Rock Park in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. 4 or 5 good friends on Polaris Razors and Yamaha XYZ 1000s headed out on the 72,000-acre mountain for a nice day of relaxed riding and to explore a few of the hidden gems of this Tennessee mountain.
You know, 72,000 acres. When you pull up and you see the parking lot and it's all full and you're like, man, it's going to be a busy day. We're going to be dodging everyone all day. You don't realize how big 72,000 acres are until you get up there and you realize, wait a minute, we're not seeing anyone on the trails because there's so many trails and so many miles of trails. Everyone just disperses and makes for a good ride.
Since it's late summer, some of the main trails are really dry and dusty. So it helped to have Anthony Umphrey and David Hicks, with their extensive local knowledge, leading the way.
Yeah, you know, it was just more of a scenic ride. It was a good, fun ride. Good, get the weekend started ride. You don't want to break anything on the first day, so you just take it easy and enjoy the sights.
They took us off the main trails on side trails that weren't dusty at all to visit the old hidden car train. This was a sight to see, tucked away and hidden on the side of the mountain.
The story on the train is the guy, a gentleman bought the train and he was going to do excursion rides, and he bought it, and then the guy, whoever owns the rail lines, the tracks, wanted too much money for him to run it and it be feasible, so he just parked it, and it's been parked there probably 5 or 6 years.
After leaving the train, we headed to Brushy Mountain State Prison. This facility was recently converted to a tourist attraction, complete with distillery and restaurant. Probably the best thing about this ride was traveling one of the legs of the Devil's Triangle. Since all these roads and towns are ATV friendly, we passed various groups of performance cars, motorcycle groups, and other ATVers out enjoying an absolutely gorgeous day.
Wind Rock Park, over the last 5 years, they've got very aggressive on the off-road end of their business. They're catering more to the off-road segment. They keep making more and more improvements. The trails, they continue to evolve and they get more diverse. I mean, you're everything from single track motorcycle trails to full-blown rock crawler trails. They offer a little bit for everyone.
Wind Rock Park, we have almost 73,000 acres of trails to ride with about a total of 314 miles of trails. We have easy trails, moderate trails, difficult and extreme trails. We have a lot of things that are family friendly, and we have everything from mild to wild. We're open to all types of off-road vehicles. We have trails that are ATV and side-by-side only. We have downhill mountain bike trails, and then we have trails that are good for full-size four-wheel drives and Jeeps and things like that.
On our ride home, David took us up Slick Rock, where not only was the temperature cooler, but it was also a great playground for the machines. Wind Rock Park features some of the most breathtaking scenery around, with the windmills sitting atop the mountain ridge and an overlook where you can see for miles and miles. This park just has to be on a riding area bucket list for everyone who pilots a Jeep, motorcycle, or ATV. It really is a must-do mountain riding destination. We'll be right back with more 4x4 adventures on Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 invasion. Crazy Industries, America's 4x4 invasion is brought to you by Spearhead Trails. Virginia is for lovers. Crazy Industries, crazy for off-road. Brothers Truck Parts, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GM truck restoration. We're headed to the beautiful Gulf Coast and the Panama City Beach Jeep Jam, where thousands of Jeep lovers have gathered in one place for an action-packed event. It's an outstanding 3-day lineup of vendors displaying their new products, parts, and accessories. Lots of folks sat under the food tent and enjoyed local talent as well as the concerts on the main stage. There's something for everyone, kids included. Families can even share a Jeeps-only drive-in movie night under the stars. Jeepers will have a brand new obstacle course to tackle. The Panama City Beach Jeep Jam included a show and shine that featured some of the most incredible Jeeps from all across the country.
It is my daily driver. It is not a wall crawler, as they say. I've got pictures of it that's fender deep in mud, so it goes everywhere. I drive it every day, and I do shows as well. You just got to take care of it a little more if you're going to play in it.
Along with various trips to the intercoastal scenic trail rides and a chance to play on the sand dunes, which is sure to be a thrill for anyone who's never ridden the sand before.
Our area has the intercoastal waterway running through it about 5 miles off the Gulf. And on both sides of that, where the sand's been dredged up, we worked it out this year where they could take excursions up there and have some guided deals along the side of that canal through some pretty sandy places. It could be a challenge to some vehicles. And that, I think, makes a lot of difference what we can do here that others can't. I think people that I've talked to that have done it really enjoyed it. It's something they didn't even know belonged here in Panama City Beach. It's a different look, different feel. Mighty good. I've enjoyed it all my life. It's different. Driving in the sand's a lot different. Big knobby tires and things like that can get you in trouble. They'll dig a hole pretty quick if you've got too much power. It's something you have to learn just like every other part of the country. Some of these obstacles out here, driving across these tires and things that look pretty simple, aren't all that simple for somebody that hasn't never done it. Everything takes a little finesse, and the sand's the same way.
Absolutely. We had some of them that were first-timers, and some of them you could definitely tell they was very experienced drivers, and they were having a blast. They were getting on the gas, and at one point, one guy, I think I seen his front wheels come off the ground, which was quite exciting. It's always good to sit back and watch people on how they drive and their different styles and skills of driving. Like we say, from mile to mile, you could either creep through the sand or just kind of get a steady pace, or just hammer down and let's get it going.
150 Jeeps got an opportunity to explore these beautiful dunes, and it's something that you never get an opportunity to do. The sand is a texture that the Jeepers just aren't used to, and they really like that texture. It's something different. You know, the Jeepers are used to going over the rocks and the different types of texture, but the sand is not like no other, so they really like that. And the ones that didn't get a chance to do the excursion, they're going to be able to be on the beach tomorrow for the parade.
Mark this event on next year's calendar. It's a don't miss Jeep road trip. If you want extreme riding, Windrock Park has it all. These Jeepers are getting their day underway by tackling Trail 15 right off the hardtop.
We have some moderate rock crawling trails that are good for newer Jeeps and smaller vehicles. And then we have a few trails that are just as big and bad and gnarly as anything you can find.
Some machines are built just for off-roading and rock crawling, like these two incredible machines from Bleepin' Jeeps. Boy, they sure make these extreme trails look like a breeze.
There are a lot of factors that make a vehicle go well in the woods. Traction is key, but the suspension flex is also very important. Sometimes horsepower is very important and other times it isn't. If you have lots of traction, a lot of times you don't need horsepower. Sometimes a lot of it's the driver, some of it's the vehicle, and sometimes it's a little luck.
Other Jeeps we'll call hybrids, such as these Jeeps from Scorpion Offroad Concepts, can be shined up to enter any show and shine contest, but they're truly built for the sport of off-roading. And then there's another kind of Jeep, such as Trey with his famous Swamp Trash. This Jeep is a true show Jeep, winning show and shine contests all across the country. But what makes this Jeep extra special is the fact that Trey will take it off-road and put it through its paces. When you see this Jeep in a parking lot, you might think, hey, there's no way that one's going to go off-road. Well, just hide and watch. All these Jeeps made it up Windrock Park's Trail 15 to kick off a magnificent day of off-roading.
I grew up riding here in a Jeep, and so that's kind of where my passion is. But we have trails for rock crawling and lots of things for ATVs and side-by-sides as well.
If you're an adrenaline lover and like to put your machine to the test, then you gotta give Trail 15 at Windrock Park a try. That's all for this week. Be sure to join us next week at the Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival in Butler, Pennsylvania. You're gonna meet more than 15,000 Jeep lovers enjoying these incredible machines. It's the best Jeep road trip of the year.